we are.
Here we are getting it together, getting ready.
Yeah, we're live. How's everybody doing out there tonight?
How has everyone been?
How
It's been a
has-
week.
That's right. It's been a week. Thank you for joining us. My name is John Gardner, and this is my wife and law partner, Radlin Mendoza.
Hello, guys. Hello again.
We are the immigration law firm Gardner and Mendoza Immigration Law. We are located on the east coast of the United States. We're in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and we are celebrating our 25th year this year. Yeah, we're going to have a big old party in October. All of you are invited.
Have we talked about budget? Okay, while you're making those intros, which
Yeah,
you've
so
already done
we,
the introductions, I'm going to share this to
Yeah,
Facebook.
absolutely. And I also want to say hello to everybody who's joining us on TikTok. We got
Hey,
a
guys.
lot of people that come through TikTok. Actually, a lot more questions on TikTok than Facebook.
You guys are the best.
Yeah, you really are.
Everyone's the best.
Everyone's the best, but especially the TikTok people. are
If
the best.
everyone's the best, then does that mean no one's the best?
That's what it means.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought.
Anyway, so we do this every Monday night from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock. We come on and we give you some immigration updates. If there's stuff going on that we think it's important for you to know about or give you caution about. And we also like to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, make sure you get them posted. We take them in the order that they come in. So the earlier you get your question posted, the more likely that we will get to it. Now, I got to tell you, we've been running around a little bit. So we're gathering our thoughts here because we picked up our middle daughter from college today. She just finished her first year.
Yes.
So she's
Yes.
home. That was very exciting. And then we just had a big blowout fajita dinner for Cinco de Mayo. So
Cinco de Mayo.
happy Cinco de Mayo for those of you who are out there celebrating.
We cooked it on the Blackstone.
We did.
We made quick work.
Yeah.
It was all the it was all the cutting, you know?
Yeah,
Like
and it takes a little while, by the way, for people to join into the live stream. It takes a little while for people to start getting their questions. And that's why we have this this banter at the beginning, in case you're thinking, why
do they keep talking
about nonsense? When can we get to the immigration? That's why. We're
You guys-
actually just waiting for people to load up, and I can see it's happening.
You need to know about the Blackstone griddle. It's not a grill, it's a griddle.
I don't know if you guys know about Blackstone or have a Blackstone, but I'm telling you, you got to get one. It's totally awesome.
Yes.
My mother got us one, and it's a game changer.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
She could be here.
If you're here, Mom, hello, thanks.
Hello, hello, hello.
Thanks for joining us.
And my dad could be
thanks
here
for the
too.
Blackstone.
Hi,
That's
Dad.
right. Joining us all the way from an undisclosed location.
So my dad, he's in the
Both of
Philippines.
them. Oh, well, we don't want to say where they are.
Okay. They could be anywhere. Anyway, all right. Well, we do have a few people who we are going to call on first, right?
Yeah, I don't see. That's what I was looking for.
We're looking for the people.
Yep. If there's
Hazel Shazel, Jocelyn D68, Pete F8, JI6792. Thank you for registering.
Okay, JI joined, but I don't see a
JI,
question.
if you have a question, you are number 4 actually. But for people who have registered, we're going to answer your questions.
My mom is here. Hi, Mama.
Yes. Hello. Good evening. Joining us from YouTube.
We made the fajitas on the Blackstone, Mom. I'll call you when we're done here later.
So good. So much food.
I'll call you and let you know all about it. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So we do have a couple of just some information, and but before we get to that, I do want to let's answer a question first, just to mix things up a little bit.
Okay. You want to just jump right to a question? We've never done that before.
We've never done jumping right to a question. You already talked about not legal advice, right?
Nope.
I wasn't listening.
See, this is why it's good that we're together, because we are able to catch each other. Yes, thank you for reminding me. There is a disclaimer that what we do here is for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes. It is not legal advice. The Virginia State Bar will not allow us to just get on a live stream and start giving out legal advice. And B, even if the Virginia State Bar didn't want us to do it or didn't allow us to do it, we wouldn't do it anyway, because there's no way that any attorney can give you good, sound legal advice when all they've got is just a snippet of a question and a little bit of information. Okay. That's why if you really want legal advice, you need to hire an attorney, hopefully us, if not us, someone else who knows immigration law, who can do a deep dive into the facts of your case, who thoroughly understands the law surrounding your case, and hopefully has a lot of experience working on cases like yours, so that they know some of the common mistakes that occur, what to expect, pitfalls, so on and so forth. All right.
Thanks for the love, guys, on TikTok.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And number one gifter is Aflatoon. A flatoon. Sorry.
A platoon.
A flat. A flatoon.
Yeah, I think it's a platoon.
All right. I don't know what a flatoon is. Do you? Is it a thing?
I don't. Maybe it's
Okay.
a name.
Doesn't matter. Let's grab a question.
All right. The very first question is, hi, what is the fee for green card wife of an asylee?
So if an asylee is their spouse is applying because they are deriving that from their spouse, you would look to the filing fees. And I actually don't know that off the top of my head. So the first thing I would do is and this is for anyone who wants to know what a fee is, right? So Google your form, I-485 filing fee, okay? And then you're going to go to uscis.gov. And then you're going to scroll down to the middle of the page. It says form details, edition date, where to file, when to file, filing fee. And then it's going to give you the option to click on the fee schedule page. So you click on the fee schedule page, the G-1055. Now, I already have this saved because I look it up all the time. We're always looking at filing fees because, who knows when they're going to change them. So we always just double check to make sure that everything is current. And so we go to the USCIS fee schedule, click it, and then it comes up as a PDF. I know this sounds like a lot of steps. It's not that complicated. It's just like a lot of different steps. And then you scroll down to the form where we want the I-485. And so the general filing, of course, for a 485 is 1440. Now let's see if there's anything for an asylee. And we don't file asylum cases any longer. So I'm checking here. So the I-485 category is super long. As you can see there's 1, 2, 3. I don't see anything here special for the family member of a spouse of someone who was granted asylum. Let me just see here. But you need to double check this because I'm just looking at this really quickly, but I don't see anything that is making this filing fee lower than 1440. So anyhow, but please follow my instructions on how to get to that filing fee and double check for yourself. And hopefully this is helpful for everyone who is trying to look up the I-485 filing fee. Now, this does kind of beg the question. I know you're not filing an I-485 without an immigration attorney's assistance. So hopefully you're just double checking what your immigration attorney has told you, because I know you've got to have an immigration attorney who's helping you go through this process, which is super important, right? This is the last step of probably a very long case. We don't file asylum applications anymore, but the last one that we filed was 9 years ago, and we just did an interview. So this is a super long road to becoming a lawful permanent resident of the United States, filing for asylum. And I know you're just making sure about the filing fee, and I know that you have a reputable immigration attorney helping you. At least I hope you do. Anyhow, there's no reading in between the lines there. If you don't have an immigration attorney, I highly recommend that you get one. Again, this is the last step of your case where, if successful, you are going to be given lawful permanent residency in the United States. And it's something that most likely you have been waiting for maybe even over 10 years. So please, please, please get counsel. The messaging is something that we wanted to talk about today. The messaging from USCIS, so United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, they are the ones that give the benefit, right? They're the ones that are going to grant the green card, lawful permanent residency. They're going to grant naturalization, U.S. citizenship, many more applications, right? DACA, TPS, K-1 visas, all of the applications where you need to get a benefit or you want to benefit from USCIS, it starts at USCIS. And of course, we've represented thousands of clients before USCIS, and many of our clients they're worried, they're concerned, like, oh, okay, are they going to give this to me? I mean, and I said, look, if you meet the requirements, then yes, you should be getting the benefit. And if the officer can approve the case, they will approve the case. They want to approve your case, right? And this is what I have been telling my clients for years and years and years and years on end. That has changed. And you only have to go so far as looking at USCIS Instagram page. And all of it has to do with fraud. It has to do with working with USCIS. They actually have photos of people getting arrested at their USCIS interviews. So it's a completely different world out there. And what that means is you have to be extra prepared. You have to bring an attorney, right? You have to get an attorney involved in your case from the beginning of your case. I don't care how simple you think that it is, right? Because the vibe, let's just say the vibe of USCIS, and everybody knows what the vibe is, right, has changed. It's not, hey, I'm going to prove your case if I can approve your case. It's more of like, what can I do to find a red flag? What social media post can I search in order to maybe see if this person falls under something that I can deny this case? And it's just a different world out there. I was speaking to one of our clients today, and I did not go to her immigration interview. Our managing attorney went to her immigration interview with her at our local immigration office. And she said that, and they were waiting there for an hour, right? And this person, this client is from Canada. So in a very long, a marriage that just been married for forever. So she said she was sitting there, and there are these television screens all across the waiting room. And she said, quote unquote, it was scary as bleep, SHIT. This is what she said, to sit there before the interview and see these images and, of ICE detaining people on the videos that they were showing. It was also about, like, don't come in here if there's marriage fraud. If you have any type of fraud, do not come into the United States illegally. She just said it was just not welcoming whatsoever and making her really scared before she went into her interview. And she asked me if I had seen it. I have not seen it. Our attorneys go to the interviews with our clients, or to attorneys. And so I have not seen that. But I asked, our attorneys, and they said, yes, these videos are playing, and they're just kind of playing the whole time while the clients are sitting there. And it's another data point where we have to tell our clients, like, look, you're going to have these videos that you're going to be watching. And I don't know if this is in every immigration office yet. And it's going to make you even more fearful that that you could be doing something wrong because you've got all these images. You're doing everything right, but these videos may make you feel like, hey, good luck. You're gonna go out in handcuffs. But that's not necessarily the case. My point is that you really have to be prepared and just make sure that this is not business as usual, guys. So just be careful that fear is from the top, and they're trying to instill fear from the top to the local immigration offices, and it's happening. And just, you need to be prepared, and you need to have an attorney on your side, 100%. So that was one question, and then everybody got a lecture.
No, you're right. I mean, it's definitely not business as usual as it was during the last 4 years. I mean, this is what we see when administrations change, the priorities change, and this happens to be this administration's number one issue, is something that they're addressing very, very aggressively. And so, yeah, I think that if you're going to be sitting there, you're going to feel 10 times better if you have a seasoned um, immigration lawyer sitting there next to you. And again, it doesn't have to be us. You know, we represent people all over the United States. We represent people all over the world. But, you know, if you live in San Diego and you feel better about having an attorney that's right down the street, fair enough. Just make sure that they specialize in immigration law, that they know what they're doing. And when you go to that interview and you're sitting there and you're seeing all this stuff that's clearly designed, by the way, to make people worried, so that they will, you know, not want to go through with the process if they are doing something that's shady. It's kind of a, you know, it's a scare tactic. Maybe it'll be effective. We'll see. But you should definitely have an attorney with you. Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
And speaking of that, quote unquote, scare tactic, this is another thing that I wanted to report on. You may have seen this, that there is now an offer that if you are in the country, quote unquote, illegally, and you decide that, you know what, I was going to go to immigration court and try to get this case approved somehow. I was going to argue asylum, or I was going to argue whatever. And I don't feel like that's going to be a good move for me now. There's an offer now that instead you can, quote unquote, and I keep saying quote unquote with all these things because, you know, you have to now. You can, quote unquote, self-deport, meaning you just decide to voluntarily leave and the government will buy you a plane ticket. They'll help you get to the airport and they will give you $1,000 if you decide that you want to go this route.
Is that cash?
Well, I don't know yet. I mean, the details are still fuzzy here, but the one area that it's really, we're seeing, there was an app called CBP One during the Biden administration where folks could schedule to come in using this app. It's now been renamed CBP Home, and you can use the same app to quote unquote self-deport. It's like not the craziest idea ever. Like if you really think that you are going to really get hammered and things are going to go terribly, I don't know. Maybe this seems like a better route for you. Other countries do it. The United States has even done it in various versions throughout our history. But there's also a lot of risk involved with this.
Yeah, for sure.
One is that if you are in any kind of proceeding or you have any kind of process going and then you leave, you know, something can happen in your absence and then you got a problem. Let's say you don't show up at a hearing of some kind and now there's a final deportation order in absentia because you weren't there. That's a problem. The payment, I mean, you know, how are you going to get paid? I'm not sure I would, that's not a promise that I'd put a lot of faith in myself personally.
The money, I would take the money first.
You know,
make sure
like, you know,
money's in the account like they do in the movies.
That's right. That's right.
I don't see the money in the account.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little sus to me. You know, you show up at the airport and instead of getting the $1,000 in a plane ticket, you
get arrested.
You just get arrested, right? Exactly. So
right.
This is another concern, you know, but something to consider, I suppose. And also, if you did go, you know, it's not clear to me how the government will account for the people that will go and how well they're communicating with other agencies to make sure that they know that, yes, you have taken advantage of this program. And then if you want to come back, you know, it won't be held against you. And they won't make some determination while you're out that will be held against you. So this is a new thing. We're going to keep an eye on it. It's not 100% a harebrained idea, but it's definitely fraught with issues as far as I can tell. That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah. I mean, you probably shouldn't go. If you want to have any chance of remaining in the United States and going through some type of immigration process. So the problem is if you've been in the United States out of status, undocumented for more than a year, that's 365 days, right? 12 months. It's not a lot of a year is a short period of time. And, you know, most people have been here in the United States out of status for a year. I'm not gonna say most, but many people have. Many people who may have an opportunity to get some type of immigration benefit have been here for over a year. And if you've been in the United States for over a year and you leave the United States, then you are going to trigger the 10-year bar, the 10-year unlawful presence bar, and you will not be able to return for 10 years. And so there is a waiver for that, but that only applies if you have a qualifying family member, and the qualifying family member is going to be your spouse or a parent of a U.S. citizen. So it's tough. It's going to be tough to get back. So you're going to trigger that bar if you leave, most likely. And when you go, you're not going to be able to come back if you don't have a qualifying family member who's going to be able to, you're going to have to get a waiver. And I don't see how this is a great solution unless, as John mentioned, you're just done. You were going home anyway. Let's get the $1,000. Let's get the airfare or however they're going to transport you back home. But then there are the other things, right? Like, what if you have a criminal record history? What if you have you're going to go and do this? I mean, that's
And what
that's
if
a problem.
you do? What if you do have some viable case somehow? I mean, I think if you take advantage of this and leave, then you will, it'll be considered that you've abandoned any viable case that you may have had. And so, like Radlin said, you're going to be barred. Yeah, I mean, you're giving up a lot. But it's your call.
Right. And if you have questions about this and you want to talk it through, we're happy to talk to you about it. And if anyone has a question, pop it in and we'll discuss. But that is out there. Yeah. But if you go, you're not coming back, most likely.
Agreed.
Yep. All right.
Agreed. These are if you do this, then your mindset needs to probably be a person who has just decided that you don't really want to be here anyway. You're done.
Yeah. I mean, if you do this, like, well, they did say that I would have the opportunity to return with no penalties. That's not true.
No, I wouldn't count on that either.
That's just not true at all. Unless they change the law. All right. Next question.
And I get the money up front.
How do you get the money up front?
It's wired to a family,
Venmo? I don't know.
Wired to a family member's account outside of the country before you show up for the.
And then spend it. I'm sorry, you don't have to spend it. Take it out.
Yeah, it's transferred to another account. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, let's get a question here. G Girl wants to know how many years for petitioning married children.
So, G Girl, where are you from? Married children is a long time. And what I'm going to do is, John's out of camera.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is that by design?
Yeah, no. Well,
I don't like it when John's out of camera. It makes me feel uncomfy.
I'm tending to something important. I'm sorry.
Oh. Okay, got you. Well, they can still see you on Facebook through your, tending to important things.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm going to just check the visa bulletin really quickly here. For those of you who are not aware of the visa bulletin, it does show you how many visas are available per month, per country, per category. So this person is asking about married children, and looking at the final action days chart for family sponsored preference cases, married children are going to fall under the third preference category. So this is married children of U.S. citizen. Permanent residents cannot petition for their married children. So this is showing cutoff dates, and the cutoff date is if you filed your case on or before for all countries except Mexico and the Philippines. If you filed your case for your married child and you are a U.S. citizen, married son or daughter, I should say, the cutoff date is April 11, 2011. So you have to do the math there, right? So let's just say you filed the case on April 1st of 2025. What is 25 minus 11?
What's that?
25. Okay, so it's going to take 14 years. 14 years. 14 years if you're from all countries right now except for Mexico and the Philippines. If your married son or daughter was born in Mexico or the Philippines and you are a U.S. citizen, that is taking about, from Mexico, 24 years. And if you're from the Philippines, about 22, 21 and a half years. So yes, ladies and gentlemen and others, that is the line that you have to get in. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm not going to do anything about that? That's insane. I'm not waiting 14 years. I'm not waiting 24 years. I'm not waiting 21 years. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just stick my head in the sand and not do anything. Even though I know my married son or daughter, they're 24 years old right now, 23, 25, 30. They'll be here by the time they're 55. Maybe they still want to come to the United States when they're 55 years old. Now, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I had an aunt who, you know, she wanted to come her whole life. She never got to come to the United States. So I know that she still wanted to come when she was in her 70s, her 80s. She always wanted to come to the United States to live in the United States. But and her siblings immigrated to the United States in the mid 60s. Thank you.
This was what was so important.
Are you thirsty?
The fajitas,
We forgot it.
The
We
fajitas were a
forgot.
lot, made me thirsty.
Our daughter just brought the water. So anyway, so guys, I know that it's a long time. It is a long time. Thank you,
Thank you,
Sammy. 14 years, 22 years, 23 years. Just file the petition. I know you don't want to hear it. If you want help in filing that very important petition, please reach out to us. We file petitions, and we have these conversations with our clients who hire us. And it's a tough conversation for us to have, because who wants to tell someone it's going to take 14 years? I hate doing it, but it's the reality.
Yeah, the long wait is the reality, but it's like everything. Our oldest daughter is 21. She'll be 22 this August. There was a time when I never thought she'd turn 14, but she did. And then 15, then 16, and now she's almost 22. So the time will come around. So if a long wait is something that's causing you to not want to get involved in an immigration case, you should file it, do it, and just then it's done. And the clock will be ticking all along.
And especially if there's no other way for your family member to immigrate to the United States. It's going to be a great, wonderful reunion. We've done humanitarian reinstatement cases. Those are amazing. And, the reunion is wonderful to reunite with the rest of your family. Maybe you have different plans. And some of these wait times are very long. If you're trying to petition for your sibling, it's in 20 years, 16, 17 years. I'm trying to do the math here, which is like 19 years. I mean, you see it, right? It's like. But
I'll tell you what's one of the most gut-wrenching, heartbreaking thing is we have people that come to our office and we identify a route that they have, and it's a petition that can take a very long time. And we say, yes, it's going to take X amount of time. And they say, wow, you're saying I could have filed that, 9 years ago. And we're like, yeah, if you'd come to see us 9 years ago, we would have told you to do it. You would have done it. And now you'd only have a couple more years left, but you're just starting now. So, it's really sad to see that when there was an opportunity missed. And by the time they come and visit an immigration lawyer, so much time has already passed. It could have been inuring to their benefit.
Absolutely. Let's take some more questions. I was going to kind of not segue, but just add another story. But nobody wants any more stories like that.
For those of you who just joined us, we had homemade fajitas tonight.
They were delicious.
Blackstone
Did I put too much salt?
For Cinco de Mayo, but make sure you have some water around. Oh no, they were fantastic. They didn't even seem
I do
salty.
have a heavy hand when it comes to
They did not
the
seem
salt.
salty. I thought they were absolutely.
I blame my
perfect.
Filipino roots. You know, we do love salty things.
I thought they were great.
Salted egg. Okay.
Okay, so we've got a couple questions. We got lots of questions on TikTok. Got a question over here.
Let's grab a question on TikTok and then we'll grab Marianne.
Sure. Father Times wants to know, says, I'm a border baby. Can my U.S. citizen wife petition for me?
So I'm going to assume border baby means cross the border without inspection. Your parents brought you here when you were a baby. And if you've made one entry into the United States and you came in without inspection, the process, it may be the provisional waiver, right? So that's a long process. But again, we're talking about getting started on something, right? So your wife, let's just say, let me just say that a spouse can petition for their spouse, right? This is a U.S. citizen spouse. And yes, she can petition for you. The next question, though, is, and it will get approved, right? If you guys are married and she's a U.S. citizen, right? It will most likely get approved. The question is, can I adjust my status if I'm here in the United States? That's a different question. Or can I do consular processing and leave the United States and come back in? Yes, you could do that if you're a good candidate for it and provisional waiver is a possibility. So the answer is generally yes, your wife can petition for you. But the real question you want to ask is, okay, great, she can petition for me and USCIS will approve the petition, but will I be able to get my permanent residency out of it? That's the question. And give us a call and we can give you the answer to that after analyzing the facts of your case, how you entered the United States, anything about your spouse that may, allow you to do adjustment of status, if anything has ever been filed for you. So we get into all that. All right. Hopefully that helps. And can we take a look at if any of these guys are on here, those who have registered?
Well, I only saw one of them who I know signed on. But
Jay,
I
I think he gave us a lot of love and hearts, but appreciate
Okay.
that. All right, let's get this question for Marianne. It's a really good question. I'm not gonna like the answer. Okay. Can I petition my sister while she's here in the United States and do an adjustment of status? She'll be 21 next year. So this is exactly, will it be quicker? Will it be easier and quicker since she's already here under B2? Okay. So Marianne can petition for her sister while her sister is here in the United States. I may or may not recommend that, right? But yes, you can. Again, the follow-up question, and Marianne is asking this follow-up question, can she do adjustment of status? Now, she can file the petition. The petition takes a really long time for USCIS to approve, and it takes years. And then that's one thing. Once it is approved, let's say 3, 4, 5 years down the road, then we have to look to the visa bulletin and say, okay, what the priority date, let's just say April 1, 2025, US is taking 20 years in some cases. Like if your sister is from the Philippines, it's taking 20 years for a visa to become available. So USCIS can approve your case. That's one thing, but then you have to go to the visa bulletin, see what your priority date is, and see how long your sister is going to have to wait to get a visa. And no, she cannot wait here the whole time. She will fall out of status, and then she won't be eligible for that benefit. So there may be other options for your sister. Maybe she wants to study here in the United States. She's on a B2. She may be able to change her status. She may be eligible for that. Maybe she has some sort of a skill and she could be petitioned for an employer. Again, she still may not be able to stay here while that process is pending, but it's a lot shorter than 20 years for the Philippines. And again, I don't know if Marianne is from the Philippines. I am making assumptions because of the way her name is spelled and because of her picture and her last name. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that answers your question, Marianne. If you would like to talk about other options for your sister, feel free to give us a call and make an appointment with us. Our phone number at the office for everyone listening out there is 757-464-9224. And you can also reach out to us through Messenger or an email, info@gmlaw.net. For those on TikTok, you can just go to the bio page and reach out that way. So hopefully that helped you, Marianne, and as well as everyone else, just to explain how there's the petition and then there's visa availability. They're two separate things.
Okay. Good
a little-
question. Good answer. For those of you who are coming in late, my name is John Gardner. This is my wife and law partner, Adla Mendoza, and we are the immigration
I
law
wave hi
firm,
all the time.
Gardner and Mendoza Immigration Law. And we come to you every Monday night from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock to answer your questions and give you immigration updates. We're on Facebook Live and we simulcast with TikTok. And I just like that word.
And YouTube.
Simulcast. and YouTube. That's right.
Yep.
Okay, let's grab a question over here. Raul wants to know, do photos need to be timestamped for evidence of a relationship for a K-1?
No, they don't need to be timestamped.
So timestamp, Raul, is, could be
It's
nice, could be helpful, could be beneficial, but not 100% necessary. It's not like if it's not timestamped, you can't use it.
Right. So the thing to remember here is like, okay, so is it Raul?
Mm-hmm.
Raul wants to show that he's seen his fiance within 2 years of filing the K-1 petition, right? That's one of the requirements. And timestamp is great. If it's a photo on Facebook, it's going to naturally have a date there. You could screenshot that and print it. But you're also going to have other things, right? You're going to have your boarding pass when you went to the country to see your fiance. You're going to have your own passport stamp. So you want to make sure you include these things. You're going to have maybe the hotel that you stayed in. So all this evidence together, plus the photos, is more likely than not that these photos are during the time that your passport says you went to the country to visit your fiance. The hotel say that's when you went to go visit your fiance, the restaurants that you all ate at, right? So it's all the evidence and all the documentation that you put together. So don't worry too much about the timestamp. It's great to have it, but timestamps can also be they could be tampered with.
Yes.
So we
manipulated.
Yes, we had a client with one photo, and I can't remember, but I don't think she and her the person that, for her future husband, I don't think they were even standing together in the photo, right? But she had all these other things. I was nervous about the one photo, but it went through just fine. It was not time-stamped.
Yeah, I mean,
Was it? It's preponderance of the evidence.
I'm thinking of when I did criminal defense, I defended a marriage fraud case once, and that was a problem. There was a lot of photos, but my client was wearing the same outfit, and all of them, they'd clearly just taken all of them in one day and gone different places. And
I've seen that too.
it was not great.
Yeah,
So it's the totality of the evidence. You really want to, like Radlin said, you want to focus on putting together a whole complete package of information that tells a story to support your case.
Yeah, the marriage fraud. So John and I, we have a lot of experience with just marriage fraud cases. John, he did criminal defense for 20 years. And the people were not smart.
No, they really weren't.
The federal government was a lot smarter.
Not always, but
although, yes, that's right. John actually won 2 marriage fraud cases. Not guilty.
Yeah. Okay, so Grace over here wants to know, she had a front end of this question. She said, I've obtained U.S. citizenship.
Yay!
Good
That's
job,
amazing.
Grace. That's wonderful. Congratulations. My daughter is 16 years old, and she says, does she only need to get a passport to prove her citizenship? And that's the extent of the question. So
Okay.
I'm guessing she wants to know,
Yeah.
what does the daughter need to do now?
Yes, I would highly recommend, and again, we are an immigration law firm. We can help with all of these things. I would highly recommend not just a passport, but also applying for their certificate of citizenship. Guys, daughter is 16 years old. Help your daughter out. Think about your daughter's future self. Think about her getting a security clearance, joining the military, wanting to, do things again that require a security clearance. You want to get her that certificate of citizenship. It is pricey, but it's going to be worth it. Some people are like, I don't want to pay for the certificate of citizenship. It's so expensive. The passport. So, I just realized I haven't sent out my passport application yet. Okay. All right. Sorry. I just saw it at the side of my desk. This is 3 weeks now, right? This is 3 weeks where I'm like, oh, my passport application is right there. I need to mail it off. Okay. So sorry. You guys want to do this for your kids. And what's this person's name again?
This was Grace.
Grace. So Grace, everyone out there, give Grace a hand that she became a U.S. citizen before her child turned 18, and therefore her daughter is going to be able to derive citizenship from her because she naturalized before her daughter turned 18. Do that for your kids, guys, okay? If you're lawful permanent residents out there, number one, you should be applying for U.S. citizenship anyway. Like, for all the people that I told to apply for U.S. citizenship in the last 4 to 8 years, and you didn't do it, and now you're a permanent resident freaking out, you can still apply. And it's okay. But Grace did a wonderful thing for her daughter by filing for naturalization before her daughter turned 18, and therefore her daughter does not have to do anything else other than apply for the U.S. passport and apply for the certificate of citizenship. She's already a citizen. She just needs to get proof of it. So I just could hug Grace because she just did a great thing for her daughter. I know that you think, oh yeah, of course I was going to do it anyway. No, it's a huge, huge thing. You don't know how many kids we talk to who are permanent residents, and they could have easily been U.S. citizens derived from their parents had their parents just become naturalized U.S. citizens when they could have. Anyway, get their certificate of citizenship, Grace. Be the hero for your daughter and get both. All right.
Okay.
Back to the city.
Back to the city for a few days.
We did our old stomping ground, and we made our kids go to all the places.
Yeah, that's where Radlin and I met, and we spent a lot of time there. So
we got engaged in
we did
Bryant Park
behind
the New York Public Library.
Yes, ma'am.
It was very romantic.
Awesome. We made our kids go there. We showed them the exact spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exact spot.
Marty does not care about our engagement or Bryant Park or the New York Public Library.
Or she does.
Or patience and fortitude in front of the library or any of that. Marty wants to know, I'm applying for a green card through marriage.
Okay.
But we live in a free apartment without a lease. Is it okay without a lease? I guess his concern is, that's going to be part of their evidence, and they're not going to have a lease to show.
Why do we not have a lease? It's free.
Yeah.
So you can also get whoever you're living with or whoever is giving you this free apartment to write an affidavit about the circumstances as to why they're giving you this free apartment.
Yep.
Utility bills, of course, depending on where you are, you may be able to get on the utility bills. There are bank account statements, of course, insurance, car registration, Costco membership, pet adoption. I mean, I'm just going a little bit outside of the traditional things. If you don't get hung up on the lease though. I mean, there are many other, a lease is great, wonderful. It's great, but maybe a statement from the people who are giving you this free apartment and why they're doing that. And that they know that you live there because they've been there and they've seen you and your spouse together in the apartment because they've worked on the dishwasher and you guys were both there. So you can get statements from your neighbors who see you going in and out. You don't even have to be friends with the neighbors or people that you even socialize with. So affidavits, photos, of course, photos are, they're kind of low on the totem pole, but they do love these financial documents. So yes, that's why a lease is a very high value document. But you can you got to think outside of the box.
Yeah, this is kind of like going back like to the K1 question about whether the photo is being time stamped. It's really putting together a whole bunch of evidence that shows that it's a bona fide marriage. What you're showing them is that it's a real marriage, and all the things that people that are together do together. They open bank accounts, and they, like Radlin said, they get utilities, they adopt a dog together at the SPCA, and so on and so forth. So the lease is just one of those pieces of evidence. Radlin's right. It's a great one because people that are in a bona fide relationship oftentimes, rent an apartment together or buy a house together. So that's a good one, but it's not the only one. So you can definitely fill out with a lot of other stuff and you'll be just fine.
Yep.
All right. You want to go back to Facebook here?
Yeah. Peace on Earth. Good question.
Yeah.
Hi, I got a CIMT that is deportable, but adjust my status using 212H waiver. Am I okay from removal based on the waived crime? You should be. I'm glad it's not an aggravated felony because we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yeah, we won't go into the woods, peace on earth, because, this is a specific question to you. But for those of you, the crime involving CIMT, crime involving moral turpitude, is different than an aggravated felony. Immigration has its own laws and rules and regulations about how they qualify various crimes for immigration purposes. So that's what this question is about.
Yep. And peace on earth, I would go back to your immigration attorney that assisted you. And if you're traveling, if you're applying for U.S. citizenship, all of this needs to be reviewed again.
Yeah.
And they said, and your lawyer says, yes, you're good to travel, you're good to apply for citizenship, and then review it again, and then check it again, and then check it one more time, and then do the thing that you're going to do, right? If you're applying for another benefit or if you're traveling. But
yeah, for those of you who join us here often or joined us in the past ever, we talk about this a lot. If you have any kind of criminal record, the immigration situation becomes much, much more complicated sometimes, dicey, troubling, full of all kinds of pitfalls, issues. It's a whole different thing. And so if you have any kind of criminal record, you really, 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 really need, everybody should consult with an immigration attorney. If you have a criminal record, it is a 100% must. It's not not even an option. You have to get an immigration lawyer. That's my advice. Not legal advice. It's just advice, and it's good advice. Okay. Aflatoon says thanks. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being who's the number one gift badger here?
Unstoppable You.
Oh, Unstoppable You just got the number one gifter badge, and I love the name.
Yeah.
I love that.
You're unstoppable. You.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Hey guys, while we're looking up for the next question, please like and follow and share. If you think this information might be helpful to others, feel free to follow our page, follow our TikTok, and we will be appearing every Monday night and maybe sometimes in between. Yeah,
we got a question here. I don't know if it's pronounced Jonah or Juna, but whichever it is wanting to know how much we charge for a consultation.
We charge $295 for an up to 1 hour consultation via Zoom. And sometimes people just want to have a phone call. That's totally fine as well. But we represent people all over the United States. So it's very cool that, we were in the day using Skype and now it's Zoom because it's better. And during this consultation, we'll go over, all the things that we think are relevant, ask you all the questions. You can ask us all the questions. And the way that our process works is that you will call our office at 757-464-9224, or you can reach out to us through email, info@gmlaw.net, or any of the social media messenger or through TikTok. And you'll most likely talk to Wendy or Rhea, and they will get a lot of information, facts from you. And then if it's something that we can help you with, then they will schedule an appointment with one of the attorneys. So first you'll talk to our intake specialist and intake coordinator. And then if it's something that we can help you with, we'll schedule an appointment with an attorney. But we would love to talk to you and see how we can help. Because as I've said before, as we've said before, we love to be the heroes. You know, lawyers have big egos. We're no exception. Well, I mean, John might be an exception, but I'm definitely not. I want to be the hero. All right.
I like being the hero. We got some from the gifters. Thanks, gifted from Magical Moments and Christy Les. Thank you for that.
I like to be the hero, but it's so we were at our daughter's track meet. She got number 2, by the way, first track meet in the 400 meter. She was amazingly fast. It was cool to watch. And one of my oldest former clients came up to me at the track meet, and it was awesome to see her. We gave her a big hug, found out how her son's doing. He's in graduate school. She's just doing so well. But it was a little bit, it was kind of like right in the middle of the bleachers, and she's just kind of going on. And I was definitely getting a little bit embarrassed because she had a friend and she was just talking about, all the great things that we did for her. And it was wonderful to see her. But sometimes at times I felt a little like, it's kind of embarrassing, but it was good. It was a good feeling overall.
Yeah, our daughter was 0.2 of a second from first place. We discovered that track can be a cruel. The times it's like swimming. It can be quite.
Yeah. Yep.
But we were so proud of her. So first meet, she almost won. Okay. So Christy Les wanted to know, I'm in LPR for 25 years and I got a DUI misdemeanor, non-aggravated 8 years ago. Will I be targeted?
So most likely not. What you should do is consult with us or other reputable immigration attorney to think about applying for U.S. citizenship. I understand some people have reasons for waiting that long of a period of time, and not even just not wanting to be a U.S. citizen. I met with some clients, and they just not interested in becoming U.S. citizens for a variety of reasons. Totally fine. But if you're a permanent resident and you've been a permanent resident for 25 years, and the only reason you have not applied yet is because of, procrastination, finances, or a DWI from 8 years ago, you really need to consult with us and let us see how we can help you. But if that's all that you have and it's a misdemeanor, there's nothing aggravated about the DWI, you should most likely be fine in applying for naturalization. And that's in this square, right? The things that you just told us. I'm a permanent resident. I have a DWI. If everything else is good, you've paid your taxes, you've never claimed to be a U.S. citizen, you've never registered to vote, you've never voted in a federal election, you support your there's a whole litany of other questions.
You're not on some sort of probation still,
right?
From that misdemeanor.
Even though it was 8 years ago, it's highly unlikely.
Extremely unlikely.
But of course, you're not going to take what we're saying right now and then, based on what we're saying, go and apply for U.S. citizenship. You're smart. You're here. You are going to come and consult with us or another reputable attorney in helping you file for U.S. citizenship. But a great question.
Yeah, and back to just to answer it straightforward. I mean, Radlin did, but yeah, probably not. It's not something you should be losing sleep over, thinking that they're going to be coming for you. Okay.
Hopefully we don't ever have to come back on here and say, well.
Yeah, I mean, as things currently are, that's true. I mean, you never know, but as things currently says.
Right.
Chaz wants to know, I'm a U.S. citizen. If I petition my fiance's children who are under 18, will they also be citizens?
This is a good question. But if you're doing the fiancé visa, the answer is no. And if you're doing, I'm just thinking here.
Think through this.
Yeah, if you're doing a marriage-based petition, the answer is still no. Yep. But let's go back again for a second.
Yeah, so you're
You're not
wanting
gonna- yeah.
you wanted to know if your fiance's children, your future wife's children, will derive citizenship from you because you're married to their mother.
Right. So yeah, that's not no.
That's
The answer
the
is
answer
no on that. They are going to be able to, if it's a K1, they're going to be able to come to the United States with your fiance, of course. And then when you get married to your fiance, you're going to be able to file green card applications for your now wife and stepchildren, but they're going to be permanent residents first. And then if your wife becomes a US citizen while they are under the age of 18, then they will be able to derive from her.
That's jackpot. That's it.
Yep. So,
Okay.
Alex, what's Alex's question?
I like the way Chaz was thinking though. He's thinking, wait a second, what if I can? Alex wants to know, do you guys think it's risky to drive from California to Vegas and back? That depends on what kind of car you're driving, Alex.
You have a Porsche 911 GT3?
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Wait, so what's the question though? That's just the question?
That's the question.
Is there nothing else? Like, I don't have a driver's license.
No, there's nothing else. I mean, Alex, I'm assuming that you're just like your wild imagination of Parade of Horribles is getting to you, and you're thinking that you could be,
Wait, did Alex have a previous question that I missed?
no. I'm guessing that he's worried. I'm reading into it. I'm guessing that he's worried that maybe with the current state of things,
Gotcha.
are there going to be checkpoints out there or something?
Yeah, there are checkpoints. There are
know.
checkpoints, and you need to be careful, and you need to have your documentation. So I just think it's not an odd question. I mean, just that you have to have your documents, right? If there is a checkpoint.
I mean, just to be clear, there's nothing that when you cross over from, I mean, most of you I'm sure know this, but when you cross over from one state in the United States to the next, there's nothing you go through. There's no inspection, there's no checkpoints, there's none of that. So you just go from one state into the next state. But like Radlin said, you should have documentation with you, ID and whatever else you have, because you could get pulled over.
There could be a border checkpoint.
You could get pulled over for speeding, depending on where you are. I mean, you are in California and in Nevada. There could be checkpoints, depending on what route. I don't know how far south you are. It tends to be more of an issue in Southern California. But yeah, be careful. But you should
just have your documentation.
Yep.
I mean, if you're a permanent resident, you're a U.S. citizen, have your documentation and have your permanent resident card on you. All permanent residents need to carry their real green card, not a photocopy of it, not a laminated photocopy of it. You guys need to carry your real green card on you. It's the law. I never, I always told people, yeah, sure, you got to carry your green card on you, permanent resident card.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we're getting short on time here. Samson wants to know, my I-693 examiner added my diabetic condition in my form. Is that going to be an issue when I interview?
No. It's not.
All right.
Just take a couple more questions for fun.
This doesn't have a name to it. If I applied for I-130 for my husband, should I also apply for a K-1 visa? Would it speed things up?
Possibly. Theoretically. Nah, not theoretically. That's the wrong word. Possibly it could speed it up. We have heard that, the wait times for an I-130 are really long right now. And sometimes filing the K-1 can speed that up. It's no guarantee. And you really have to be I'm going to say a special client, to go through that process, right? You have to be aware of the pitfalls of doing that. And the pitfall is that it proceeds as, you know, a K3 case, which would not be great, because then you'd enter the United States on the K3 and then you'd have to file the green card application. So you have to be aware that that could potentially happen. But yes, we have, I believe we may have done it a couple of times, or my attorneys have, but I have not done it myself. But I know colleagues who have done that successfully and sped up the I-130 petition. Are we muted?
No, I was just checking. I got farther down into when we got later here in some of these TikTok questions. Some people said that we were stuck. A couple of people said there was no sound, having some connection issues. So we apologize, folks, if some of this got
and
stuck.
if so, go to our Facebook and you can watch. If you ask a question, yeah, I see that. No sound.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, sorry about that, folks. Hopefully it was only for a few seconds and only with some of you, not all of you, because not everybody was commenting on it. So, okay. But we are out of time now. And so with that, we will sign off. All right. And we will see all of you next Monday from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We'll bring the immigration updates. You bring the questions. And
We'll bring the updates.
We'll bring the answers.
And the answers, right?
Yep. The updates
All right.
and the answers.
2 thumbs up. Thank you guys so much.
2 thumbs up.
Thank
Have
you.
a great night, everyone.